So do we all know what Buddhism is? Because if not, I'd like to suggest that we'll do. So you can commit it to memory as I say it. It's a very easy definition. I think it's a good idea, don't you, that we all know what is Buddhism? And we don't just say, hold on a minute, and it's in here somewhere. And we quickly look at our iPhone, say, hold on a minute, it's in here somewhere. What is Buddhism? Buddhism is the practice of Buddhist teachings. Brilliant. And we can all remember that. Buddhism is the practice of Buddhist teachings. That in itself is a teaching. It's the practice of Buddhist teachings. It doesn't say Buddhism is Buddhist teachings, which is what I think we think it is. Buddhism is the practice of Buddhist teachings. Big difference. Buddhism is the practice of Buddhist teachings, also called Dharma, which means protection. So Buddhism is the practice of protection. Real protection. We practice it until we become so good at protecting ourselves, we become a protector of all living beings. By practicing Buddhist teachings, living beings are permanently protected from suffering. Amazing. That's the result of Buddhism. By practicing Buddhist teachings, living beings are permanently protected from suffering. No suffering, ever. Ever. Suffering ceases through the practice of Buddhist teachings. How amazing. That's what we want. No suffering for us, ever. No suffering for others, ever. No suffering. We want suffering to be extinguished. That will happen through the practice of Buddhist teachings, because that is their function. We need to practice Buddhist teachings because there is no other real method to solve human problems. We need to practice Buddhist teachings because there is no other real method to solve human problems. So Geshe-la's encouraged us to think of another method. He said, you tell me if you have another method to solve human problems. What is it? So even though we're all following other methods, we actually know they don't work. Don't we? Like, for example, seeking happiness in material development. Well, of course I need a new iPhone. How am I going to download modern Buddhism if And of course I need an iPad, because how can I possibly take the commentary down to the book if I can't see the book and type and put in the notes in the right place, etc., etc., etc. Is that the only reason we want an iPad? So we need to practice Buddhist teachings because there's no other real method to solve human problems. We need to meditate on this. Is that, even though intellectually we agree, in the depths of our heart, do we agree? We need to practice Buddhist teachings because there is no other real method to solve human problems. So Geshe-la explains why this is the case. He explains why we need to practice Buddhist teachings, because every difficulty, pain, problem, suffering, comes from delusions. So every difficulty in your life, every worry, every problem, every suffering, every physical pain, every mental pain comes from delusions. Dharma is the only method to control delusions, particularly the root delusion, self-grasping ignorance. So every difficulty, we need to learn this, every difficulty comes from delusions. Dharma is the only method to control delusions. Therefore, how important Dharma is for human beings. So I'm just going to repeat this. This is Geshe-la's oral teaching. Every difficulty comes from delusions. Even if you remember that, think how your day would change. Every difficulty comes from delusions. You just write it on your boss's head. Just here. So you can see it when you need it. Every difficulty comes from delusions. Put it somewhere where you're going to see it often. Every difficulty, because that's not what we think. You know, we say we think it, but it's not really what we think. We need to bring what we think from here to here. We need to feel that every difficulty comes from delusions. We need to know in our heart. That knowledge needs to touch our heart. Every difficulty comes from delusions. There is no other method to control delusions other than Dharma. Therefore, how important Dharma is for human beings.